Chief Minister 𝗠𝗲𝗏𝗵𝗹 is slated to hold a key meeting next week to discuss the views of the Ministry of Home Affairs, which has recently returned the amended Meghalaya Residence Safety and Security Act, or MRRSA 2019. Informing this, Deputy Chief Minister 𝗟𝗏𝗵𝗹 said, the meeting will discuss at length the legal aspect of the matter, among other things, and see how to move forward. The government of Meghalaya had introduced the Meghalaya Residence Safety and Security Act 2016. As many as 7 localities were identified on pilot basis under Shillong urban area. All landlords and tenants who are residing in 7 localities, namely Nongrim Hills, Pokesh, Pokse, Nongra, Nongmensong, Lapalang, Riyadh Laban and 𝗲𝗲𝗫𝗀𝗃, which have been selected in the first phase, are to mandatorily register themselves on MRRSA. Well, 𝗟𝗏𝗵𝗹 further said the state government has already constituted the district task force headed by the respective deputy commissioners. The state government further directed the deputy commissioners to ensure proper implementation of the MRRSA 2016.
I think last time we have already told that the Ministry of Home Affairs has already returned back that amendment passed in the Assembly, and next week we are going to have a meeting. Chief Minister, myself and a few senior officers including Advocate General will sit down and then how to go forward, because they have already submitted with their views from the Ministry of Home Affairs. So right now I will not be able to tell you anything. So let us first sit down. We'll have a meeting. Then you will be known. See, I think we don't say that the implementation of this act has just happened few days back. No, we have already constituted even the district task force headed by the respective deputy commissioner, and then even the SPs. They are the members of this committee, and these task force committee is in place, and we have already directed all the deputy commissioners to implement this MRRSA Act accordingly and make sure in the respective jurisdiction that it should be implemented in totality.
All right, so this is a big story at this point in time, viewers, from Meghalaya, as the Chief Minister 𝗠𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗹 is slated to hold a key meeting next week to discuss the views of the Ministry of Home Affairs, which has recently returned the amended MRRSA 2019 Act. And my colleague 𝗟𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗃 joins us live to give us more details. Well, 𝗟𝗲𝗵, any inputs on the views of the MHA on the MRRSA?
Well, if you remember last time when we spoke to Conrad Sangma during the assembly session, then he said, he admitted that he has received a reply from Ministry of Home Affairs about MRRSA. And he refused to give us more details. It may be mentioned that MRRSA, the original MRRSA 2016, it was passed on September 2016, and later in 2019 an amendment was brought. But Chief Minister Conrad Sangma at that time, he did not give us much details about it. But today when we spoke to Deputy Chief Minister in charge of Home Affairs, 𝗟𝗏𝗵𝗹, and he has mentioned that MRRSA, amended MRRSA was returned back by Ministry of Home Affairs with some views. Then next week there will be meeting. Chief Minister has called a meeting with the officials where Deputy Chief Minister will also be there, and also the Advocate General will be there, and various aspects will be discussed, including the legal aspect. Few days back we received one press release.
All right, 𝗟𝗏𝗵𝗹, can you sum up the main features of the MRRSA?
Well, before I summing up the main features, let me tell you one thing is that 2 days back when we received one press release which says the implementation of Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act 2016, and in the first phase it seems seven places are identified. Ultimately, in entire state, this act will be enforced. This act will be implemented where all the tenants and the landlords, they have to get registered so that the Meghalaya government can monitor. And this is an important step, because if you know that there was a demand for inner line permit in the state, in view of this demand for inner line permit is in the state where the center is still mum on the issue, this implementation of MRRSA is a major step that the state government is taking.
And Purvasha, will the government hold meeting with pressure groups as well?
It is, we cannot say right now what will be the move, how they are moving forward, because Chief Minister 𝗠𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗧 is not in the state, and until and unless he returns back, it is very difficult to say how the government will move ahead. But of course, the government has started taking steps. That's why 7 places are identified in the first phase.